Hello, and welcome to another Friday Live. I'm so excited to be back and be talking about what's happening in the news, in the world, because a lot has happened since the last time we've done a live stream here on the channel. I think the last time we left off, like Biden had dropped out and Kamala had stepped in, and I don't think that they had debated yet. Maybe they had, but it's been a minute since we've done a live. So I'm excited to jump in to another video here. We're going to do something fun here on the channel. We're going to talk a little bit about the news, about Trump's cabinet nominations now that he is president-elect. We're going to be talking about kind of some of his picks, some of the ones that I'm in particular excited about. We're going to be just doing a couple fun things that I'll leave as a surprise for you today. And then these sections, there's going to be sections of these lives that will be repurposed and put out in smaller segments during the week. So if you like to watch something all at once, then this is great. If you want to go back and watch little segments, those will be coming out as well. So first and foremost, we were doing these a few months ago, every day, news stuff every day, and you guys loved it. It was not sustainable for me to do it every day. So as much as we can, we're going to be launching these live, what's happening in the news, what's going on in the world. We're going to react to some fun stuff. We're going to be talking about stuff that matters, doing a lot of different things. So if you like that kind of content, if you want to know what's going on in the world from a biblical perspective, if you want to talk about critical thinking and what's going on in the world and all of that kind of stuff from a Christian perspective, from a biblical perspective, this is your space for that and much, much more. There's a lot that goes on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. All right, we're going to jump in to the first and most exciting I say most, it's definitely up there on one of the most exciting announcements for Trump's cabinet that I have seen so far. And he's not done, but my most excited announcement so far is Mike Huckabee. My parents and I have been following Mike Huckabee for a while. He is just such an incredible guy, has so much experience, so much insight from a Christian perspective, from a biblical perspective. He loves Israel, and he has been nominated to be the ambassador to Israel on behalf of Trump and Trump's administration. And that is pretty exciting. So there was an official announcement, and let me pull this up so that you guys can see this. This is Trump's announcement, at least a section of it. I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, has been nominated to be the United States ambassador to Israel. Mike has been a great public servant, governor, and leader in faith for many years. He loves Israel and the people of Israel, and likewise, the people of Israel love him. Mike will work tirelessly to bring about peace in the Middle East. And it's so great because Mike's response is, man, I wish I had pulled up the interview that he did on Fox. I'll pull that up a little bit later. I'll react to it as like an extra bonus thing with the content that pops out for next week. But there's an interview that he did on Fox where he is just, I thought he was going to cry. It was so sweet. I thought he was going to cry. He's obviously very honored to have this position in Trump's administration. He's obviously very qualified for it, not only because of his much experience with the Israeli people, but also just his love and respect for the relationship between the United States and Israel. I'm excited about him coming from a biblical perspective, and I think that he's going to be an incredible addition to the Trump cabinet. I wanted to play a video of Mike Huckabee's daughter, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She is the now governor of Arkansas, while her father was the former governor of Arkansas, and she is so proud of her dad. So let's play this together.
I was just nominated as President Trump's ambassador to Israel. I had the chance to go to Israel for the very first time with my dad when I was 11 years old, and it literally changed my life. There's no greater supporter and nobody that has a greater understanding of our two nations' unbreakable bond. And there is probably a little bit of bias, but there's no one who will do a better job in this role. Congratulations, Dad. We're all very proud of you.
It's so great. Oh, man, I love it. I love it for their family. What an honor. Mike Huckabee has been very, very involved in the political space, even after finishing up as governor. He's had the Mike Huckabee show and has just been very, very engaged and involved a lot in Trump's administration in the past and obviously currently. So it's pretty exciting to see him join the administration. There's a lot of people. I'm going to jump over and I'm going to put all of the links. Everything that I show you will be in the description of this video after we finish going live. So I'll drop everything in there. So if you want to directly go and see links, see stuff that we're talking about, then just refresh after we finish and you'll be able to see that content in there. But I want to share kind of a rundown. Ooh, this feels like this is small. Let me zoom this up. Okay, so this is currently the nominations that Trump has already made for his cabinet. These up above say Senate confirmation required, which means these actually have to be moved through the Senate to have interviews and assessments by the senators, and then for them to vote on if they will nominate these people that Trump has nominated through, so that they're actually in those positions. And then the one below is that the ones below that he has, these here don't need confirmation. So this is a great link. This is the New York Times, and this is Trump administration cabinet appointees. You can Google that and you could find that right now as we're looking at this. They'll keep this up to date as he announces. But this is exciting. It's an exciting cabinet. Obviously, there's a lot of feelings that a lot of people are having about all of these. Obviously, the left news media, they're just like losing their mind over some of these names. But it's exciting to see how this develops. I think this is probably one of the most highly anticipated announcements of a presidential cabinet that I've ever seen, at least in my lifetime. So it's kind of exciting to watch this. This is a great link to keep up to date on all of the announcements that Trump has made. The other one that I wanted to comment on besides Huckabee is Pete Hegseth. He's making a lot of waves over here. And people are losing their mind. People are losing their mind about Pete because he is a Fox, or was formerly a Fox News host. And they're like, what does he have qualifications for to be nominated? This is another great link. I'll make sure to, again, put these in the description. But Pete has been nominated for oh goodness, now I'm like spacing on what in the world he's even been nominated for. I can't believe I missed it. It should be here, and it should be in here somewhere. Secretary of Defense. Thank you. Okay, so he's been nominated for Secretary of Defense, and what's exciting about this is, obviously, you know that I'm going to come at this from a Christian biblical perspective. He is a devout Christian, and he is a veteran himself. He was, I believe, a captain in the Army, and he has had a lot of experience, not only directly in the military, but also in leadership roles. He's had a lot of experience in council, in just keeping up with his guys, keeping up with what's going on. He's a great voice over at Fox, brings a lot of experience with his conversations, dialogue, commentary on what's going on in the government and military. I think one of the things, a lot of people are questioning his experience, and I am certainly not one of those people to say that he is or isn't experienced. It will come out. Obviously, he's one of those that will get nominated. But one of the interesting things that I find is that up until now, a lot of the positions, a lot of the people who have held this position have been consultants to the role and have been very war oriented. They don't necessarily want peace, they want war. They're quick to go to war. What's great about having somebody in this position who's been to war is that they understand the consequences and the repercussions of going to war, of putting soldiers in active battle positions. And so I am excited to see what will come of this nomination, because Pete, again, has experienced being in war, and being a captain, being in roles of leadership, having men underneath him that he's responsible for. I'm excited to see what he comes up with in his leadership. And obviously he again has to be he has to be confirmed through the Senate, but it's exciting to see somebody in this kind of position kind of coming from a different angle than we're used to seeing. One of the things that's really fascinating is, Trump is really choosing some very non-traditional people for some of these roles. And the liberal news is going crazy. They're like, how in the world? They don't have the experience. They're not qualified. Why is he doing this? This is insane. And the reality is, one of the guys on CNN said this pretty well. He said, listen, people voted for something different. People voted for non-traditional. They voted for something different. And so this is something different. We'll see if, they get through the Senate, if they're found to have enough qualifications for the role. Obviously, there's a lot of these people that are in these positions that they get to prove themselves. Absolutely. They have to prove themselves in these positions. And so we'll see how that one goes. But excited to see some solid Christians being nominated in these positions. Marco Rubio for state, and we were kind of expecting Kennedy Jr. for health department, but we're excited to see that, especially with a lot of the things that he's been talking about around working at the chronic disease crisis, especially children and adults, like all of those kinds of emphasis that he's already made. So excited to see him. Kristi Noem, I'm excited about. There's a lot of people on here that are just like really, really awesome picks. And there's some people on here that people are going nuts over because they're like, you are very non-traditional. You're not what we've seen before. We're kind of not expecting this. What in the world? So as we know, most of these are nominations that have to go through the Senate, at least most of the ones that are making waves. So we'll see how that progresses as we move forward closer to the beginning of the year and his cabinet being put through. But that's kind of cool. So that's what's happening up until now. I don't think there's been any announcements today so far, but I'll keep you in the loop on his nominations and all the stuff going on in the news as we proceed. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked about Trump's cabinet and what's going on with that space, I wanted to do something a little different. We're going to do some of the live here on Fridays in some sections. So I'm going to tell you what's going on in the news. I'm going to give you some helpful resource tips for how to organize things. If you're a researcher and an investigator like I am, where you have a lot of tabs open, you have a lot of information that's coming through your computers, through your phones, I wanted to make sure that you guys have some cool tips and tricks from things that I have learned. So a couple things that I wanted to share, two things that I wanted to share with you this week. First and foremost, I wanted to show you this really cool button on X. So this is like my go-to button. Let's come over here to, if you go to bookmarks, you can see all of your bookmarks for different things that you want to save. So let me show you how to bookmark something. So if you were going here, oh, Charlie Kirk, of course, he's on my front page. He's like the one that I interact with the most. So, on your X page, whether you're on your phone or you're on your computer, there's going to be this bottom bar that will show you how many comments, how many reshares, how many likes, how many views. But you're also going to see next to the share button over here, you're going to see this little bookmark type image. And if you click that, it will save this post, and then you can go back and look at it in your bookmarks. Now, y'all, it did not refresh clearly. Let's refresh. There it is. So this is a lifesaver for me because there's a lot of times that I am scrolling on X just to see what's going on, refreshing, seeing what's happening, what's popping up on my feed, but I don't have the time to read it at that point, or I'm with people, or I don't want to be engaged in the news in that moment. So I bookmark a ton of stuff on X so that I can go back and look at what's happening in the news. I've also found, ironically, as much as I kind of have a tumultuous relationship with Instagram. I feel sometimes I like it, sometimes I hate it. But when it comes to news, I find that X is pretty good about keeping me up to date on what's going on. It's not always accurate. There's a lot of crazies on X. So use your discernment and your critical thinking. But I love to go surfing on what's happening in the news because there's a lot of stuff that's very, very current on X in one space. So I use that good old bookmark button to save things that I want to go back and read or watch if I don't have the time in that moment. So that's a really, really great hack. The other thing that I have found incredibly helpful, especially when it comes to saving time, being efficient about my research. Let's say I have an article like this article that is a Live Now Fox article on Pete's experience. And basically what I can do is I can copy all of this text. I don't care if it's got images, whatever. I copy all of the text. I come into ChatGPT, good old ChatGPT, and I use ChatGPT for organizing. I don't use it for research because a lot of the information it gives me is inaccurate, but I use it to organize things. So I can come in here and say, hey, I'm giving you all this information. Now, give me bullet points on this particular information that I'm looking at. So for example, let me show you what I wrote. I think I probably wrote it at the bottom. Yeah, here we go. Break down this article and tell me Pete's experience in bullet points. Boom. Now, I know that if you have like ChatGPT Pro or something, it'll read links, but you can literally copy the text and then it'll give it to you in bullet points. Bam. There's my bullet points on what the article actually said. Now, what's really helpful about this is it saves you time, especially if you're looking for something in particular in an article. But it also is a really great way to organize things. If you're keeping things like, like I have a Notion space just for these live shows so that I keep everything together and organized. So I can just copy and paste and put that in there and then go do a lot of the compiling of what I'm going to bring to you guys and what I'm researching myself for my own enjoyment of keeping up to date with the news. So ChatGPT is really, really great around organizing things, and you do not need to pay a cent for it. You can make a free account and use it purely for organizational reasons. I wouldn't give it any of your personal information, and I wouldn't use it for researching news or what's actually happening in the world. I would just use it for organizing, but I love using it for that. So those are some really cool tips this week that you can use when you're researching and investigating for yourself. Okay, so now we're going to jump to, oh my goodness. Okay, so I wanted to, y'all, you know how much I love the White House press secretary, right? Oh, KJP is just like, she's my girl. I'm being so sarcastic. Okay. So she drives me absolutely insane, but I watch her a lot because I just I love seeing how the reporters ask basic questions of her. And she seems just absolutely offended around everything. So I made a lovely little compilation of our current White House press secretary against our dear Kayleigh, who was Trump's White House press secretary. I'm not going to lie. I really hope that Trump asks her back. I don't know if she would. She's got a pretty cool, cushy, comfortable seat over at Fox right now. So she's pretty good. I don't know if she would say yes to it, but it would be awesome. Come on. She's amazing. If you don't remember her, you're going to find out pretty soon here. So we're going to jump into this. I think it starts with her and then it jumps to KJP. Let's do it.
Does President Trump believe that it was a good thing?
Just FYI, this segment is from just one of the many sessions that she had during Trump's administration. And she's being asked a very interesting question. And watch her facial expressions. Watch how she handles herself. Watch how she handles the answer to the question. And then we're going to watch how KJP handles some similar, maybe even more softball questions as well.
That the South lost the Civil War? And then two, is he interested in following NASCAR's example and banning the Confederate flag at his own events?
Well, your first question is absolutely absurd. He's proud of the United States of America. Second, with regard to our statues, Americans oppose tearing down our statues. There's a Harvard-Harris poll released just last week that shows 60% of respondents said the statues should remain, and 71% said local governments should block groups from physically destroying the statues. So he stands on the side of preserving our history.
Get married. Okay, so she was very, very quick to jump in and answer. It was short, it was sweet, and it was to the point. Now, let's watch KJP. And by the way, I tried to shorten this woman's response, and I couldn't because she just kept going. So let's watch.
You said gracious, cordial, substantive. The president obviously hit on a wide range of issues, but did he get a sense that the issues that he was impressing upon, that any advice he was giving was being well received?
I think so. I think that's why the president was wanting me to let you all know that there was a very good back and forth, and it was substantive, as I mentioned before, and I want to be mindful. It was a private conversation, so I don't want to go into specifics or details. But look, they met for more than 2 hours. They met for a very long time, or nearly 2 hours, pardon me. And I think by the length of the meeting tells you that they had an in-depth conversation on an array of issues. And so, look, the president reached out to the president-elect wanting to make sure that he gave an opportunity to the president-elect, afforded him that opportunity to have a meeting with him to talk about the different issues that matter to the American people.
Honestly, she keeps going. She hasn't stopped going. She's still answering the one question. Now, one of the things that I notice about the difference even in style is that first and foremost, there is a difference in style between Kayleigh McEnany and KJP. She's obviously very relaxed and sort of conversational in how she answers. But to be really honest, like as a press secretary, this doesn't work. And it hasn't worked the entire time that she has been the White House press secretary. And when you butt her up against somebody like Kayleigh, who's to the point, bam, let's go. It just looks really cringy. A lot of the ums and wells, and she's not done. She's not done.
But nearly 2 hours says a lot about how the meeting went.
Any plans to keep a line of communication open?
The president is always going to obviously keep that line of communication open to the president-elect. We got to remember, this is not about the two presidents. This is not about President Biden or President-elect Trump. This is about the American people and what's right for the American people. And if anything, the president has led by example, right, over the last week week now on making sure that we have this cordial transition.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there's the difference. That was for me more than probably any of you. Some of you may be feeling similar to me, which is like, hallelujah, we get a different White House press secretary. Let's go. Because I'm one of those weirdos that actually watches the press briefings like every other day or so as they come out. And watching her long responses to fairly simple questions often is cringeworthy. There's also a lot of compilations out there, you should go watch them, of her getting like blatantly offended and taking things personally. And I think that's pretty damaging of a White House press secretary, because it's not about you. You're literally just the voice communicating the things that the president wants you to communicate, and do it with the least amount of damage possible to the administration. And if you're taking things personally and being, oh, I'm so offended, I can't tell you how many times that happens. That's a problem, because you're not supposed to take things personally. That doesn't look good at all by any means for the face of the administration, often even more so than the president of the United States, which is the White House press secretary. So kind of excited that we are going to be getting somebody else, and who knows who that will be. I've heard some rumblings, but y'all, we're going to find out. We're going to see. One of the things that I think is really important to note around this incoming administration, because there's been a lot of controversy, there's been a lot of conflict, especially within the evangelical community in general, and more specifically within the, my own community of, non-denominational Protestant Christian. It's interesting because there's been a lot of divide around who to vote for, if you should vote, all of those things. But I think now that we know what the result is, and the result was overwhelmingly the case, as Christians, we need to be praying for this administration. We need to be praying for these candidates being nominated for cabinet. We need to be praying for these leaders, that they have discernment, that they have wisdom, that they have a desire to lead with righteousness. We've got to be praying for them, not being cynical. The cynicism, y'all, I'm going to rant for a hot second. The cynicism drives me crazy. If you are responding to everything that's going on in the world with a cynical perspective on all things, then that really, there's no gratitude, there's no contentment, there's no thankfulness in that attitude for the things that we are spared from, the opportunities that we have, regardless of who the president was going to be, the opportunities that we always have to show love, to show thoughtfulness and care, to speak truth into people's lives. That truth, of course, coming from the word of God, to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth, to stand up for righteousness in our land. Like, we always had those opportunities, regardless of who the president was going to be. And now we may just have some bigger opportunities or less oppressive opportunities to be able to do that as Christians. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about some of these nominations that I'm seeing, because these are really good men who have fantastic character. I'm not speaking for all of them, but for the ones that I know and have been following and hearing a lot of their comments on a variety of things before they ever thought they were being nominated for anything, before they had anything to prove. These people have been showing incredible leadership, and I'm excited to see them being nominated. People like Mike Huckabee, people like Pete, and many more. It's exciting to see some of these people step up and be a part of an administration. And I, regardless of the differences of opinions there are on particular things with some of these people, I'm praying for them, and I'm praying for our president. And I'm praying for the transition from our current president to our next president, and praying for their administration and the transition. And if, one of the things that was really humbling early on with the whole Kamala, Donald Trump issue, just like the comparison between the two, one of the things early on was thinking, man, like, are we leaving room for the possibility that Kamala could get saved? Are we leaving the possibility on the table that some of these people that we find incredibly frustrating to watch in power in our country, that they could actually change, that their heart could be changed, that their mind could be changed on things? Or are we sort of just canceling them out and making fun of them from this perspective of who they are as a person and not their skill, right? Obviously, we got to point out the stupid stuff around, like, why are you in this position if you can't do the job, right? I get that. But are we leaving room for the possibility that these people could actually have a change of heart and a change of mind? That's a humbling thing to think about as we're praying for our country and we're praying for how the Lord will use us, how God will use us to do his will, to be faithful to the mission that we have. And I think that it's a huge thing I'm going to talk about whenever I talk about the political landscape or social economic issues, is Christians should be the ones that are deeply engaged, not because we have fear or we need to control, but because we have the freedom to love and serve people. And that should be the forefront of our mind as we are caring for our communities, as we're taking care of our, our people and taking care of our country and caring about the economy and the border, like all of these things, they obviously come back to caring for people. And Christians should be some of the first, because we're free to. We have nothing to lose. Why would we not serve people? Why would we not care for people? And I think that that's pretty huge for us to have that mentality and be out there and be active. So there's my take on what we can take away from what's going on in the world. Pray, and pray some more, and really ask the Lord how you can be involved, how you can be a part of what he is doing in our country, and praying for a revival, praying for the opportunities for doors to be opened for the gospel. I mean, man, like, pray for it and have the confidence to know that the person, like the being, the God of the universe that you're asking, can absolutely do even more than you ask. Yeah. Okay, we're going to transition from that to something really fun to finish out. Y'all, to finish out today, I'm going to pull some of these up as we go because, y'all, we got some fun stuff. Oh, nope. Okay, so I want to show you some fun stuff that I was just giggling over like a crazy lady earlier today. Some fun stuff to react to, laugh with. We're going to end this live stream with some stuff to laugh about. There was an international guy that showed up to Mar-a-Lago he's apparently going to be a mentor to Trump in some ways. They had like a big party, a big event last night, I believe. And this video is going viral on X and it's hilarious. It's this dude doing the Trump dance. And we just got to laugh about this. Let's laugh together. This guy is having so much fun. Oh my goodness. Man, cracks me up. Ugh. I think that some of this funny like meme stuff and like dance, some of this stuff is like, we need a little fun. We needed some laughter. We need some comedic relief to what's happening in our country and what's happening in the world. All of the anticipation, all of the suspense. We need some comedic relief. So that made me laugh. And then the other, y'all, this guy cracks me up.
Voting for Kamala Harris is like throwing the Titanic in reverse to hit the iceberg a second time. Voting for Kamala Harris is like throwing the Titanic in reverse to hit the iceberg a second time.
Are we getting that? Are we getting it? Are we getting it? Oh, man. It's like, let's do this again. Oh my goodness. This guy cracks me up. He actually used to be like the assistant to Trump his first term. Cracks me up. He started a dating app for conservatives. He's hilarious. Go follow him on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you find your content.
Liberals think science explains everything in existence. Except when it comes to defining what a woman is, then it's much more complicated than just science. Got it. So liberals think science explains everything in existence. Except when it comes to defining what a woman is, then it's much more complicated than just science. Got it.
Okay, by the way, I don't know who films all of his videos. He has, like, he probably has thousands of videos by now. He has so many videos out there of these, like, witty, short videos. He's hilarious. I don't know who films his stuff, but I'm pretty sure he's either dating, engaged, and or married. I'm pretty sure he has a spouse because he always pretends like he's single and he's going on a date or whatever. But somebody's there filming the whole time, and I'm pretty sure it's his spouse. But if somebody knows who's filming, I want to know who it is. So please share it with me, because I think about this from their perspective. Like, this has got to be hilarious. Can you imagine, like, being in a restaurant or a grocery store or like Disney, or like being someplace with a bunch of people and then just like shooting off these witty phrases in like random places. Oh man, y'all. Oh, good grief. He cracks me up. He is so funny. Go binge watch his stuff. Okay, we have to end with a movie that I went and saw in the theater, and it is so funny. And we're going to watch a trailer from Matt Walsh's movie, Am I Racist? This is a hilarious compilation of a bunch of people who've interviewed him and have said that how they loved this movie. And it's so funny. If you haven't gone and seen Am I Racist, you have to see it. It is absolutely, not only is it funny, but it's also incredibly informative to the lack of critical thinking that we are teaching Americans and the world in general.
The Robin DiAngelo one.
She didn't know who he was.
And what's your name?
I'm Matt.
Matt Walsh in his man bun, which everyone must see.
What Matt did is he went after the unforgivable sin of modern society and then asked the question about it.
That's key to the whole universe of storytelling.
It's a great film.
You get a lot of good laughs in it, so it's a good date night thing.
Your movie is really funny. It's really funny.
Am I Racist? Now streaming on Daily Wire Plus.
Come on, go see it. Go see this is a total absolute endorsement. Go watch Am I Racist? It's so funny. It's definitely out of the theaters, but I think you can, I think it's on Daily Wire. You can go watch it over on Daily Wire Plus or wherever else it is. But it is so funny, and it made me laugh a lot. I went with me, my parents, my brother. It was so funny. There were people from my family that didn't go, and we were like, you missed out. You missed out. It was great. All right. So that is all for our live segments here on a beautiful, awesome Friday. I hope you have an amazing Friday night. Go enjoy yourself. Go have a great time. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.